So yesterday's session, we understood how to create framework application, and then we understood how to create implementation application. Okay, so there we observed in framework, it will ask for some theme. Okay, and then it will by default ask for our organization name, which will be initially as random. Then we'll try to update something to SCP or whatever. Okay, and after which we created one implementation, it did not ask for theme, and we concluded whatever the framework theme should be, it must be derived. And ikkada still it is asking for, or it is showing some random organization name. So this implementation is created part of framework, meaning this organization also should be derived. But because of some OODB frameworks usage, we understood organization name will not be by default derived. Okay, so we are supposed to again manually update it. So that is what we have done yesterday. And after this implementation is done, no doubt one operator ID creation should happen. And based on that operator ID only, any further development should happen. Okay, your project might be having multiple frameworks, and no doubt you'll be connected with only one single implementation. You'll be given operator ID for that implementation only. If you log in with that implementation, indirectly you got access for above frameworks also. This is what we have seen. Okay. And now, after you logging in into any implementation, you should understand how many frameworks it is having. So tell me how to identify number of frameworks. What are the ways we are seeing? Three ways, right? How to identify number of frameworks?
Yeah, through application definition and the app explorer
and
and
classes.
Okay,
classes.
so the first one is like using application definition. There you'll see something called built on application. Okay, so built on application, nothing but this is built on what? You can see it's a first framework. And if you check for its own definition, you can see it's a parent, maybe third parent, fourth parent, go till to the top where you see OOTB things like Theme Cosmos or Cosmos React or UI Kit or Constellation, whatever it is. And on top of it, no doubt you'll see something as Pega rules. So this is one way where you can identify its parents. And second way, using App Explorer. Okay, if you go to App Explorer, you can see some X applications, right? Some number is what you'll see. From there also you can understand. And third and very, very important thing, using something called classes. Okay, let me log in once. Okay, so here you can see something called classes. As we understood, each and every application will have one work class generated, correct, right? And that is what PRPC is telling us during application creation itself. So when we are creating an application, so there we will be going to advanced configuration, right? There you'll select your own organization name, right? So then and there it is saying this will be the class layer generated. So if I have total 10 applications, maybe 3 frameworks and 7 implementations, how many work classes you can confirm? Tell me. How many work classes must be there? It
10.
must be 10 work classes, right?
10.
Yes. So how many applications you see, those many work classes must be there. It might be framework work class or implementation work class, doesn't matter. Okay, and this class will be, okay, city is our organization where I have something like main framework and something like banking framework and something like insurance framework and something about like credit card application, loans application, maybe accounts application. So here, if I log in, I'll see its applicational related class name as city hyphen its name, whatever you provided. So maybe city CC and something like work. And if you are a developer here, you'll see its own class by default, that is city hyphen city loans hyphen work. And here this class name will be city hyphen FW
Yeah,
hyphen maybe bank hyphen work. And this one should be city hyphen FW hyphen city main hyphen something like work. So all the work classes, how many applications you create, those many work classes will be generated. No doubt everything should end with work only, where every development work happens on this class. So you as a developer should do some development work on this application, right? It's nothing but on this class only. So after you logging in, you'll see by default the same class. You can right click on that and do whatever the development work you have to do. Okay, we'll do all these things manually, slowly. Okay, fine. And based on this, if I ask you how many frameworks we are having, suppose if I wanted to create few things here, what I have to do? It doesn't mean that you have to log in onto this one. You can search for that class directly from here. That is where you got searchable text box. So maybe SCB-FW and so bank related work class is what you'll see. Or there itself you can see main related work class also. So on the respective class, if I right click and create, so no doubt it is like created in its framework application only. So what I'll do is maybe if I wanted to create first name, last name, credit card number, these three now. So on right clicking on this, I'll create credit card number one. And I'll search for the class from there to here and I'll right click and I'll create first name and last name. So now tell me if you are a developer in this loans application, can you search for this class? Yes, right?
yes,
Yes. So can you see first name and last name what I created now?
yeah,
Yes, right. It should be. That is where framework and implementation linking should happen. Okay, so you are like straight away creating it here. Maybe if you got one operator ID to log in onto this one, no doubt whatever you created from here in this class. So if you log in, it should be there. And maybe different operator logging on to this one, searching for the above class, he should get those things showing up. He can use further. This is what the design should be. So we can conclude that every framework should have CTFW, which is like starting every time. So I can search for parent classes, right? So here, if I search till SCB-FW, and if I can count for number of work classes, there I can say that those many frameworks are there. But we cannot say what is the hierarchy as of now. What is first parent, what is second parent, that we cannot confirm today itself or as of now itself. Okay. So now based on this, I'll ask you one small question. You guys should answer this. So here you will see something like city loans dash work. So you are a developer here. You are supposed to create first name, last name, and maybe something like loan amount. So you created these three things in the same class. Actually, these are to be maintained in its parent, right? Few are to be maintained in its parent. But you by mistake created these three here. So you got the output that is working fine. Now I'm a developer here. So now tell me, can I use this first name, last name things from there to here? Yes or
No,
No.
no? Can't you use those things from that class to this class?
no,
So
we cannot.
yeah. So can't I search for this class with this application login? Here I can see something like its own class, right? Can't I search for this loans related class name here? That is what my question is.
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Sure, right? Can I search for this class in this login? Again, I'm stressing and asking you. Now tell me, yes or no?
No, Chandra.
Answer Mari.
no,
It's like no, right now. Earlier you told it as yes, right? Okay. So I'm having class name as city dash city accounts dash work. So this is different class, this is different class. Can I search for that class from there to here? I have few rules maintaining here. My question is, can I use those rules from there to here? No, right?
No.
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 Okay. Rules usage is not possible. That is what you are confidently saying. Now, can I at least search for that class from there to here? At least
Yes.
class, can I search it?
We can search.
Such
Yoram?
the hierarchy is same, right, Chandra?
You see
We
the
can
diagram.
search.
Okay, you see the diagram and tell me. And you need not question me anything about like hierarchy. You see the diagram. And finally, whatever the class I am seeing here, can I search for that class here or not?
No, we cannot search
No,
it here.
No.
you can never search the class. Maybe if you can find this class somewhere here. So if I can see this class access, no doubt I got its application access, right? And no doubt I should see all its rule access, right? If I can see those rules, I can use it, right? So which is not correct. So this and these are two independent applications. That is where we are creating it as separate. So you can never search for sibling classes into this one. This is what you have to know. Got it right? You can never search for sibling classes. Okay. So if I log in into any particular application, I can access its parents only. So this organization can have total 4 frameworks. But for this one, I can see only 2 connected. I can access only these 2 classes. Other 2 frameworks, I cannot search from here. This is what you have to know. Everyone clear with this final statement?
Yes.
That's right?
Chandra.
Yes.
Now, based on this, I'll tell you real
Chandra,
time.
so
Listen,
one question
I
here.
understood your point. I understood your point. Just listen for next 5 minutes. No doubt your question will be confirmed. Okay, so this is what finally we are understanding. But let me tell you one real-time scenario. Please, please bear for 5 minutes. Then I can answer your question. So this is my Citibank, and here, whatever the frameworks use, not a problem. I have one credit card application, something like loans application, something like accounts application. So if you are a customer going for a bank, understand something like functional, not anything about Pega. If you are going for a bank asking for a credit card, if I'm the credit card employee here, you are a normal customer. So I'm supposed to issue a credit card. Before that, our bank policy is you should have a bank account. You should have a bank account in our Citibank. Then only we'll issue a credit card. So then what I'll ask you to do, I can ask you to go to counter number 3. And then I can ask you to get an account created there first. And then I'll ask you to come back here. Then we can proceed. That is fine. And another customer is coming to me and saying like that he's already having an account and he wanted to get a credit card. So now I wanted to cross check about his account details, right? So I'll ask him what is his account number, something like 1234. So meaning whatever the account data being maintained, that is being pulled out. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes, right? Yes. So in this kind of portals, whatever the database related things we can happily pull out. And whatever the rules he is creating, so that can be pulled out even by defining a class here. So whatever the earlier statement I told you, that is rules maintained in one class cannot be pulled out here. That is what we are understanding as per hierarchy. But in this exceptional scenario, things maintained here to be used, right? Whatever the things you maintain there, it is to be used. So this is something like manually some connection to be done. So what I'm trying you to understand is inheritance. Inheritance meaning inheriting from parent generally. So things maintained here can be happily used below. And things maintained at the top level can be used here as well as here as well as here. So there is no blockage there. So this kind of inheriting from parent to child, we call it as pattern inheritance, which is by default possible. Okay, and there will be some exceptional scenarios where I have things maintained in some sibling class, which is by default can't be possible, but still we can get it by establishing an inheritance manually. I have to link these two things manually. That type of inheritance is called direct inheritance. And now to answer this question, so you can maintain few things somewhere in different classes, but still you can get it here, which will be an exceptional scenario, what we call it as direct inheritance. Okay, so now Saurabh, you tell me, is this your question? And did I answer this?
Uh, yeah, like actually it was little different. I was just asking that if we explicitly knows the class, then we can definitely search, right?
Hmm. But what I'm saying is, in this app explorer, you can never search for sibling classes. Okay, maybe I'll be designing a screen here. Okay, so we'll start our development, right? There I'll be designing a screen. So which is related to our own application, which is related to, or considering the same example. So
So
this is
if
for
when we
this.
set up this directed inheritance,
Hmm.
then we can search those classes in
No,
Explorer.
it's not about class explorer. In app explorer, you can never search for other classes. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is, so you can get data from top to, meaning parent to child. Okay, so from siblings you cannot get, right? But siblings wise, you can get it on some exceptional scenarios. So what we call it as direct inheritance. But here in the app explorer, you can search for only parent classes, meaning pattern inheritance related things only will be showing out. So other class data, if I wanted to use it, I can use it in my screens by defining something. It's a page name and class name. You don't know this point.
Okay, okay.
So,
No, no, I got your point now.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you can use the other classes, but here listing out happens only if it is parent. Got my point?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Fine. So we'll talk about this inheritance in the today's session itself in detail after some time. But for now, it is very clear that you will be having by default its own class and it's a parent class names only. Other classes you can never search, meaning it will show like something invalid only. Class doesn't exist. That is what it will show. Okay, fine. So whenever I'm trying to develop something, consider my requirement is to develop a screen for this credit card application. Okay. So today my manager is asking me to design screen number 1. And there it is showing something first name, last name, and credit card and other things. And for that, I'll right click on this and create few things here. And I can pin this also. And a few things I'm supposed to create an implementation, right? Okay, so you can see all the pinned classes. I'll right click on this and create. I'll right click on this, create. Maybe if I'm having one more framework, I'll search, I'll pin it and I'll right click. So this is what our easy development happens. Okay, fine. And now, so today our design is something like city as one organization. So which has got one banking. Okay. So 2010, maybe Citibank project started and they are only into banking sector by that time. So they're having credit card, maybe loans and accounts. And after 15 years of their business, they wanted today to step into insurance sector also. Today they wanted to step into insurance sector, meaning they wanted to create 3 different applications also, right? Maybe medical insurance, vehicle insurance, whatever. Their plan is to go for 3 new implementations, which was not expected when they started. So what they are supposed to do, they have to create one more framework and which is to be connected to this one only. Am I correct? Which is to be connected to this one. Okay, so when they're designing these 3, maybe first name and last name, some reusable things will be there. They might have created something here. And today they wanted to create something like medical insurance application. And here they wanted to go for first name and last name usage. And those are already created, but it is in different framework. They cannot use it here, right? They cannot use it here. So in that scenario, so in future, we don't know how our project expansion happens. That is where PRPC is giving us an option to create much reusable things at its top level also. So there is a class maintained even for organization. So what is our organization? SCB, right? Okay, so I can see SCB as one class generated. If you are seeing something with the green color leaf, it is a class. Okay, so I can see SCB as one class also generated. So total I created, consider 10 applications. So maybe 7 or 3 are for framework, maybe 7 are for implementation. We are understanding 10 classes will be there. Okay, but these are 10 work classes ending with work, right? So along with these classes, additionally, some other classes also will be created. And one such class is organization. You
So
can see SCB also has one class generated. And if I right click, I can pin this also if required.
Chandra, sorry, Chandra, one doubt there. You
Yes.
told the first name, last name properties will be created in the framework. Okay. Now
Mhm.
you're telling the same first name, last name properties can be available in the city class also, right? The SCB class also.
No, what I'm saying is, so initially when your project is started, you have only one framework and these three implementations. If you are a developer here, if you are supposed to create first name and last name, you'll maintain its framework.
Correct.
So that is where a framework is fully established, and unexpectedly they wanted to start insurance project, and here they wanted to use first name and last name. These things cannot be possible. So that is where in future we are not sure how our expansion will be. That is where PRPC, what they're saying is, so all the reusable things you can maintain at its organization level also. So
Okay.
anything reusable between this banking, then only you maintain in this framework. So first name and last name, no doubt it will be reused between these three. In future, if I'm having different sector maintained, and in
Mm-hmm.
future I'll start something like petroleum also. So today in Geo we'll be having or something like Reliance, right? So in Reliance there are different sectors. So they are into a clothing sector, maybe retail sector, or maybe telecom sector. Future they are into banking sector. So that is where they are maintaining, or PRPC is giving some storage related thing at organization level also. So
Okay.
if today in 2010 itself, I wanted to create first name, last name, bank ID, and then credit card number. So what you have to do, credit card number, you have to maintain it here. Bank ID reusable between these three, right? You have to maintain it here. First name and last name, you have to maintain an organization. You are
Mm-hmm.
not sure in future how the expansion, but still you have to maintain all the reusable things at the top level. They are giving us one storage related part at organization level also. Okay,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay.
Fine. So
So
after
Chandra,
you creating,
one more question here. For this banking framework, can't we like use directed inheritance
we can,
simply?
that is what I'm saying. But every time if you are planning to go for direct inheritance, so
Hmm.
what is the point of maintaining frameworks? You tell me. I'll maintain all the rules here. So if I wanted to use this into this one in future, I can connect and get it. But is that real way of designing? No, right? Got my
So,
point?
so it will also impact the performance. Like if you do that
Obviously.
in that way.
Obviously, performance will be disturbed. So I think you're having little Pega knowledge, and just to make you understand now itself, if you are wanted to use this one, you have to define this in page and its class, right? If I'm defining a page and its class, no doubt this entire class related stuff will be pulled out, not just only first name, entire class stuff will be pulled out. So which is again killing system performance, correct? That's right.
Okay.
So in the rare scenarios, you have to use it, not every time.
All right. Yeah.
Got it right? So
Yes.
organization structure, maybe if you are continuing with this one, you cannot fulfill this design, right? Okay, so even with one framework, the other three implementations are not smoothly running out. So I'm asking you to maintain one more framework and other things. What you are saying is, so if you are having only one thing maintained everywhere, and even if it is not connected, can't we manually connect and get it? Yes, we can do, but it is not correct approach. Got it right? Fine. So what I'm trying to say here is, even at organization level also, there will be a class created by default, and this will not be work class. So are you seeing anything like SCB dash work? No. So for applications alone, you'll see work as like class generated, and for every other class, it will be normal class name. And I can create anything here also. I can use it into its first framework, maybe required second framework, and last in all the implementations. So far, everyone clear, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Everyone
Chandra.
clear?
Chandra, I have one question.
Tell me.
So, like, can we connect like two framework?
Two frameworks.
Yeah, like here bank framework is there, and second one is insurance framework is there, right? So, can we interconnect these two?
What do you mean by interconnecting?
Means like whatever the property and everything mentioned in this bank, we
So
can
if
use for
these two,
insurance.
yeah, if these two are derived from this topmost, what are these two considered as siblings, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And city is something, and this is something framework one. This is something framework two. So in this case, framework two can get things from framework one. So I can consider these two are somewhere connected. So maybe this has banking, and I can have separate framework for credit card alone. Within credit card, I can have something like registration application, cancellation, or recovery, or something like upgradation, and something like loans as separate framework. So within which loans registration, loans upgradation, these might be implementations. So here, if you feel this framework and this framework are to be interlinked, so you have to maintain it as parent child. And you tell me whether these two are to be interlinked or not. No, right? There is no connection
No.
between these two. So you should
Yes.
understand your complete structure. So what are you maintaining in this framework and what should be connected? And what is this framework about and what should be connected? If these two are not interlinked, so those are considered as siblings, right? Based on the structure only, you have to correlate.
Okay. Okay.
Got it right?
Got it. Yes.
Chandra, I have one question.
Yes. Tell me.
So, what will be the parent class of the SCB class, like the organization class? Is it Pega?
No, I'll talk about it. So we have to understand about inheritance. Mostly in today's session itself, we'll come to.
Okay.
So finally, we are understanding that these three are important classes as of today. There will be extra top on top of it OOTP classes and other leaves also, right? As I told you, leaf is a class. Okay, ignore about every other class. So as of today, we created framework and work class will be there. One implementation, one work class will be there, and organization also a class will be generated. I'll right click on this create and I'll right click on this. I'll right click on this. This is okay. Fine. So this is something like an application, and for application, a class got generated. So to know more about application, what did you do? You clicked on its definition, correct? Similarly, to know more about a class, you can right click on that and click on definition. Okay, so some class information is also what I can get. So I'm trying to right click on this framework work class and clicking on definition. I'll get some details. Okay. And I'll right click on this and click on further definition. And even I'll right click on this and click on definition. Okay. Now you observe one thing. So first two are work classes. Am I correct? Please confirm me quickly. First
Chandra.
two are something work classes.
Yes.
And this is something non-work class, right? Whatever it might be, it's not work class. Okay. So I wanted to make you understand as two different things here. So that is work class, how its design will be, non-work class, how its design should be. So you look into this, any of the work class. I can see it's a type. What is its type showing?
Concrete.
Any work
Concrete.
class, its type, it will show it as concrete. Okay. And coming to the non-work class, what is its type showing?
Abstract.
Abstract.
Abstract. So based on this, you can confirm classes are of two types. So every Pega development should be in terms of classes only. And we are having work classes and non-work classes. These are looking as concrete as its type, and these are abstract as its type. Okay, we're just trying to observe everything for now. And work class. Here you can see something like settings also below. Something settings is what you're observing, and below is something like keys is what you're observing, and something like class inheritance is what you're seeing. And I think at the last you'll see something called test connection. So these five things is what you're observing in any work class. And coming to non-work class, you can see class type as abstract. Okay. Settings is also like available, and class inheritance. So you can understand these two are missing for non-work classes, correct, right? Yes, right?
Yes, Chandra.
You are like missing. Now you should clearly understand what is abstract, what is concrete, and why work classes are concrete, why different classes are abstract, why concrete classes will be having keys applicable, why concrete classes will be having test connection applicable, why those are not applicable for abstract classes. This you have to know. Okay, so for this, I'll tell you with one normal example. Consider a biggest organization in India, that is startup. This is one biggest organization. And this organization will be having different divisions. So there will be something like electronics as one division. And there will be something like IT department as one division. And there will be something like jewelry as one division. And there will be something like travel as one division. Okay, and ఇంకా చాలా ఉంటాయి, or motors as one division, and within which there will be something called chroma as one unit, or there can be subunits also, and there will be something called click as one unit, and TCS as one unit, and maybe Tanishq as one unit, or CaratLane or unit, and maybe Air India, or maybe whatever. So these many things will be there. These are kind of units, these are kind of divisions, and this is organization. I'm not talking anything about Pega. So this is anywhere sim, anywhere sim. Okay, fine. Consider a small example. This Chroma application, suppose if you go to Chroma store today and ask for a laptop, okay, you'll choose some laptop product and you'll go for billing, right? If I'm that billing person, I'll be using one application. Okay, I'll use some laptop to generate a bill, right? I'll use one application. And here I'll be collecting your basic details, your laptop details, and your warranty related part, payment related part, everything. And once that is successful, you will be given with one bill, right? You'll be given with one bill and you'll be given with some product. And this bill will have some number. Okay, we call this as bill number or receipt number or invoice number or reference number, whatever it is. Okay, so this is what happens. And maybe after 2 or 3 months, if your product is damaged, what you'll do? You'll again come to this store, and there I'll ask you to give your bill number, where I'll enter your bill number, and then I'll say that this is still under warranty or this is not under warranty. Whatever, they'll give you some solution there. So this is what something kind of happy part. And otherwise scenario, consider you went to Chroma asking for a laptop and that product is not available by that time. Okay, so what you will do, you might be paying some 2000 rupees as like booking amount, and then you might come after 2 days and get the product collected. This is what happening, right? Maybe if product is not available in stock, so you may have to wait for 2 days and then collect it. Now, what is happening in these 2 days? What is happening in these 2 days? So this particular Chroma is not having stock. So they are supposed to get that inherited or get that derived from its parent, right? Consider this is one godown where they're maintaining all the stock. From there, they're trying to get it. So maybe here in this godown also, if product is not there, they'll try to get it from its parent, right? Maybe organization, whatever. So in this way, some chain is happening. Okay, so maybe in this, after these 2 days, they'll get product from there to here, and finally from here only you'll get a call, right? So that your product is available. Please come and get your product delivered. This is what things happen. Okay, so maybe will you get a call maybe from this go down directly? Or will you get a call maybe from this organization department directly? No. No. Or maybe if you are directly going to the go down and asking for the product, they will not give you. If you are directly going to the organization, that is top level Delhi go down, still you will not get it. They will not give you. Okay. So what is happening is the above things here are now slowly correlating to the Pega. This we consider it as abstract. And this also will be considered as abstract. And this we call it as concrete. Okay, this we call it as concrete. So in Chroma, that is concrete. So business will start. Business starts and business will process and business will end. And they will try to give you some bill number. And maybe after 2 or 3 months, if that product is damaged, they are supposed to show you some solution also. Meaning they are checking for the bill number in their database. So they will be having database table connected. These are all the things we understand. And abstract class, what is this doing? So you cannot directly go here and ask for a product, meaning business will never start here. Okay, any transaction will not start at all. Any transaction will not end at all. So you are not supposed to get product delivered from there. So this is meant for processing. And this is also same. This is meant for processing. Now correlating, abstract classes are something where transaction will not start, transaction will not end, and they will try to help below concrete classes to run successfully. Okay, they are just trying to help running concrete classes successfully. In this process, there will not be any IDs generated, any bill numbers generated. So if there is no IDs generated, that particular class will not have database tables also connected. So this is something concrete class will have a bill number generating capacity, meaning a database table must be there to hold that. These are not meant for any transaction IDs generated and need not hold anything, and there will not be database table also. So there will not be database tables also. So coming here, this is something like top level class, and where I'll try to create few things here. I'll try to create few things here. Okay, so those are meant for helping below child most classes only. So where every business happens at the child most classes only. So if you go for a bank and ask for a credit card, so they will try to do something in this credit card application only. So this is something like topmost, and here I can have n number of classes. This is credit card, this is loans, this is accounts, this is medical insurance. All these are something like concrete classes. So the application, whatever you create, it will be like a work class, which is concrete, and every business happens here only. And if any customer is registration here, so one reference number will be generated and it will be stored into its table. So the above classes are not meant for running any transactions there. Okay, the above classes are just meant for supplying its rules to the below part and making this concrete classes running successfully. So now technical statement, I'll give you one final and technical statement. So here concrete classes can generate a bill number. And technically we call this as work object ID or case ID. Okay, so in Pega, we are calling this as work object ID or case ID. And the same will be maintained in one database table. Okay, and abstract classes can never generate work object IDs. And that too, you should not use a word called generate in this case. So concrete classes can instantiate. Technical word is instantiate. So concrete classes can instantiate case IDs, and hence there will be a database table connected. Abstract classes can never instantiate case IDs and no database tables connected. Is this statement clear, everyone? So for everyone clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, right?
Yes, Chandra.
So concrete classes can instantiate work object IDs. Okay. Now based on this, let's correlate with something like original example. Okay. So in bank, there is one credit card application, something like loans application, something like accounts application. Okay. So these are just output applications. If I'm a bank employee here, so what I'll think is about running this application. But to run this application smoothly, you might be creating n number of above classes also. There will be multiple organization, and on top of it, some extra OOTB classes. There will be n number of top parents. Those are meant for helping these below things running smoothly so that the real users don't know. Okay, so this is our complete bank. Don't think anything about Pega now. So this is like complete bank. So if any customer coming here or trying to enter our bank, so there will be one receptionist asking for the query. And if you say that you wanted to go for credit card, they'll ask to go to counter number 1. So if you are the customer standing in the queue, maybe few other customers standing. So as an employee, I have to address your query. You might be asking for new credit card registration. So what I'll do, there might be a small button kind of click here for registration. I'll click on that, where I'll get screen number 1 collecting your personal details, screen number 2 collecting your address details, whatever. I'll complete the entire transaction. So whenever I complete, no doubt whatever the database table connected for that, there must be 10 records stored. Instead, if 10 customers are standing in queue, okay, and if 10 credit card requests are raised, those are considered as 10 different records into our database table. Everyone agree with this? Yes, right? For 10 requests, there must be 10 records into our database table. Correct, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Chandra.
Yes.
Yes.
Even for loans application, for those many different requests, those are to be like 10 different records into its database table. And even for this application, there must be a database table. As I told you, if you are creating 3 applications now, no doubt 3 work classes will be maintained. Those are like 3 concrete classes. Concrete classes should have 3 database tables, each connecting to one. That is what you can easily correlate based on this diagram. Okay. So here one customer, maybe 10 customers, I think 10 different unique numbers will be there. So this reference number will be unique. It will not be repeated. Okay. So this first customer coming to me and 1, 2, 3, 4 is the reference number generated. I collected all the details and I asked him to wait for 3 working days for the activation. For credit card activation, I asked him to wait for 3 working days. Maybe after 3 days, again he came to the bank and said like activation is not yet completed. So what I'm supposed to do? I'm supposed to ask for his reference number, right? Please tell me your reference number. So he will tell me and I'll search for his reference number. Data should be pulled out from database and has to display some content. No doubt. So there I can see something less still pending. I can see some status as still pending. So I can directly say him to wait for till end of the day. It should be completed. So I don't see any problem now. It is still showing as pending. It might be done by today end of the day. Please wait. That is what I'm saying. So he again came after 2 days. Still it is showing as pending. So I exactly don't know what is the problem. As a bank employee, I don't know Pega or I don't know anything, right? As a bank employee, I can see that there is no issue showing it for me. What I can say is I raised one request now. My technical team will look into it and they'll call you if required. That is what the thing they are saying. Okay, that is what the thing they are saying. Now, if you are the Pega developer now, if you are the Pega developer, so I'm the real bank user, you will get an email from me saying like for credit card application, for this reference number, activation is not done. That's it. So kindly assist him. This is what one line of email you get. Okay. So now what you have to do, you have to fix it. So for that, no doubt you log into development studio, right? So these persons are logging into the user portals. They'll try to carry their transactions. You are the developer to log in and fix such issues, meaning you will be accessing development studio. Okay. So you will be logging with some operator ID. This might be an operator ID. And what they told is like in credit card application, make sure you should access that application. No doubt. Okay, so this consider this as SCB credit card application. You are logging in there. And here what they're saying is for this credit card application, for this reference number, there is some problem. Meaning you have to access this database, correct? You have to access this database. Okay, so day 1, consider or now you logged into the respect application. Now you have to open database. So you know our database name is, what is that? What is the database name?
Pega data.
Pega data.
Pega data. It's like Pega data. So you might be opening Oracle or maybe pgadmin4 or MongoDB or SQL, whatever it is. Whatever the environment your project is using, you'll open that. Consider you opened Oracle. And there you'll see Pega data as one database showing out. And within which, as I told you, there will be hundreds of tables, minimum 500 plus tables. And out of that table, in one single table, you have to look for 1, 2, 3, 4 as the ID. So what is this table name? How to identify table? That is what you have to cross. Get my point? What is the table name? If you ask this real person, what they will do? So you'll just get an email saying like for this application, there is a problem. You logged into the respective application. So you have to open database and check where the problem is. You know how to open database. And there are like 500 plus tables, out of which hardly PR operators has one single table. You don't know what is the table associated for this application. For that, you need not ask anyone. You need not ask anyone. So right click on the respective class. Okay, suppose after you logging into credit card application or loans application, whatever it might be, you will see its respect to work class, right? Okay, so no doubt this is concrete. You'll right click on this and check for definition. You'll get the same window. So once you got this window, at the last, you'll see something called a test connection. There, if you click on that, you will see that this class is mapped to, this is the class, which is mapped to this particular table name. You can see this, right? Let me copy this somewhere. Okay, so can you see this? So this particular class, this is mapped to so-and-so table. In so-and-so database, this is what clearly it is mentioned. Now you open your Oracle software and under this database, you look for this table, that's it. And once this table is identified, so you should look for this reference number, what you got it. And you'll search for that reference number and identify what exact the issue is. So here you can clearly say it like something additional documents are pending, whatever you can resolve according to that. So what I'm trying to say here is how to identify a database table for any concrete class. So for concrete class, there must be a table. Am I correct? Yes, right?
Yes, Chandra.
Yes.
For abstract class, will you see a table?
No.
No. So
No.
meaning if you go to any abstract class, at the last are using test connection? It itself is not having a table. What is the point of showing table connection here? So that is where test connection is missing for every abstract class. So if you go to any concrete class, you'll see test connection available. There you can see this class is connected to what table. And if we observe, as I told you, tables generally starts with what prefixes?
PR, PC, PR4.
PR, PC, and PR4. If I ask you, tell me any table which starts with PR.
PR operator.
PR operators, correct. Any table starts with PC. All work classes. You take any work class. You take any work class. Every work class will hold table with PC as the prefix. Okay, PC. Here it is PC. Why it is given as PC? Is there any specific significance for that? That we'll talk after some time. And if we observe this class and table, both will be little same. And every time classes will be given hyphens as separation. Every class will be given with hyphen. And now its respect to table, I can ignore, right? Its respect to table will be showing with underscores. Ignore all. So here you can see something like underscores. Am I correct? So classes every time will show with hyphens and it's a table names every time will show with underscores only. This is what basic understanding what we have. Okay, now considering the same example, whenever you got any production issue, so you should identify what is the application name. Okay, and that applicational related class, what is it? And its class related table, what is it? And under this table, no doubt there must be one primary key. Am I correct? And under that primary key, what is the reference number he is telling us? So that you have to check for. Now, if I ask you what is the primary key for this, you should know the primary key, right? You should know the primary key. Now, if I ask you how to identify a table, you can happily say. So how to identify a table and you can happily say. So how to identify it's a primary key, still you'll have the same. That is for that particular class in its definition. So you can see keys concept. Key is nothing but it's a primary key, that is P by ID. Yes, right? Can you correlate? That is P by ID. So now for a particular table, the columns generally starts with what prefixes?
PY. PY.
Is it only with PY every time?
PY, PX, PZ.
PX, PY, PZ. So what is the primary key for work table? This is work class. This is its work table. This is one work class. This is its table. So all the work classes will have its individual tables. We call these as work tables. Credit card work table, loans class, loans table, accounts related work class, accounts related work table. This is what generally we'll discuss. So if I create 3 applications, 3 work classes, 3 concrete classes, and 3 tables, right? All these tables starts with the PC only. PC underscore SCB underscore something like credit card. PC underscore SCB underscore something like loans dash work, whatever. All the tables starts with every time PC as the prefix. And all such tables will have one primary key also with the same name, that is with PYID. Understanding, right, every one of you?
Yeah.
All the work tables will have same primary key. Okay, so if maybe again you got one more request from this person. He's a bank employee, right? He's saying like for accounts application for 2, 3, 4, 5. So there is something like issue. So the candidate wanted it to be deleted, whatever. They wanted to upgrade or downgrade. I cannot do it from front end. Something is stopping. That is what you got. So you as an again developer, make sure you log in into the respective accounts application. You have to log into accounts application. How to log into accounts application? How to log in? So you will be having only one single operator ID. Don't expect multiple operator IDs. Only one operator ID. So initially to fix defect number 1, you should log into loans application. Maybe for defect number 2, you have to log into accounts application. Maybe for defect number 3, you should log into something third application. So for that, as I told you, you have to open your operator from here. Or you can go to records and again organization, again operator ID, open your own operator ID and make sure there is something like access level, that is loans application authors, right? You can click on plus and you can go for SCB, maybe accounts. We haven't created, but I'm just telling you something. Like authors, this must be the scenario. This must be the part. So if an operator has got multiple applications connected, he's part of loans application, he's part of accounts application, he'll be part of something third application. So here the default, whatever it is selected, initially whenever I log in, it will take me to loans application as authors. Okay, now I got one more request. That is some problem with accounts application. What I have to do, I have to select this. Maybe I have to click on save and log off and log in. Now the default one is accounts and it has to take me to development studio of that. Makes sense, right, everyone? Come on.
Yes,
Yes,
Chandra.
right? Yes.
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 Okay. And again, changing this every time is like pretty difficult. I'm supposed to change every time. Okay, instead of that, if an operator has got more than one application access, if we click on this one, you are seeing new application, right? Just below that, you will see something called switch application. Actually, this is something dummy, right? Maybe if this is a valid one, So here just below new application, you will see one more thing. Later I'll show you, which is with the name switch application. There, if I mouse over, you can correlate according to that. If I mouse over, there I can see maybe multiple options. If I choose accounts application, immediately everything will be changed to development studio for accounts application. Likewise, you can toggle between applications. Fine. So after you toggled to this application, there you will see SCB accounts. And here you'll see SCB dash SCB accounts dash what? It's worker class, right? And if you right click on this and if you check for definition, and at the last you can see what might be its table name. So there you'll see accounts related table name, and you can check for the same table in your database. And again, what is its primary key? Every time it will be PYID only. Okay, so in this particular table also you'll see PYID. Under PYID, whatever the ID they are telling you, you have to search and you have to solve it. In this way, you have to correlate. So all the work tables will have PC as the prefix table name. And all the work tables will have its primary key as PYID. And by the way, what is the primary key for operators table?
PY user identity.
PY user identity.
It is PY
User
user
identifier.
identifier. Wait, it's PY user identifier. And here it is PYID. Here it is PYID. Okay. Okay. Now I'll end today's session with one real-time scenario. I'll explain that scenario for today. The scenario here is, so this is one bank employee, credit card employee. He don't know anything about Pega. So this is his application, what he's using. Okay, so daily he will be registering thousands of customers. And there will be 1,000 request IDs generated, right? And all these 1,000 IDs are to be stored into its work table. Am I correct? Just tell me.
Yes, Chandra.
There will be a work table with the PYID as something. There might be something like thousands of work object IDs generated. Okay, so we technically call this as work object ID. Okay, so these bank employees, they will call it as reference number or invoice number or maybe receipt number, whatever. So after you got an email, you are production support guy. After you got an email, maybe if the is to be assigned for your team member, if you are a manager, you have to assign to this. What you'll say? So open PC work table and there is one work object ID with the name 1234. This is what you have to say. Work object ID or case ID is what we technically call. So this non-technical guys, they might call it as reference number and other things. Okay, that's fine. Okay, and here you will see PYID, n number of things generated, and we will be having the customer respect information, and there will be something called status also. Okay, so everything must be resolved. Every work object ID created, it must be resolved. If a bank employee generated a credit card request, it is his responsibility to get it completely resolved. Then only he'll get some incentives. Okay, then only he'll get some incentives. He should follow that customer. He should follow that customer and provide necessary documents. If required, I'll send my representative to you, to your home or to your office. So you are supposed to provide these documents. So you have to provide one cancelled check. So they will run behind us, right? So meaning every transaction generated, ultimately it must be resolved. Status must be showing as resolved. And for your information, today itself, its column name is PY status work. Its column name is PY status work. Okay, so there might be some scenarios or some work object IDs which might be still as open, right? Consider you went for a bank and asking for some educational loan or some request is generated. So they are asking you, next day they are calling you and asking you to provide some kind of educational documents. And suddenly you changed your mind not to go for higher education. You wanted to still continue with your current job. Okay, you wanted to continue. You got some promotion, you wanted to continue. So for this work object ID, you might not respond to that bank calls, right? So meaning transaction got created which might not be resolved. There will be n number of such work object IDs which are not resolved. So technically we call those as in-flight cases. Getting my point? Technically we call those as in-flight cases. Every year, okay, consider you are working for a client, that is city client. So this client might be working in a financial year or maybe calendar year. Maybe January to December might be their year, or April to March might be their financial year, whatever it is. So every year end, they will request a developer. Consider I am a city client from USA. You are my development team, and I can request you that what are all the work object IDs which are not resolved, purge those or archive those. This is what they'll say. So purging meaning completely deleting. Purging meaning completely deleting. Archiving meaning maintaining that junk data in some temporary table. So consider if they're asking you to archive. So you might be creating one temporary table, and these few records are to be deleted, or sorry, are to be pushed out here. Correct, right? Makes sense, everyone? Following, right? Yes, right?
Yes, Chandra.
Yes.
Everyone following, right? Okay. Now, what I'm finally trying to say here is whatever the data getting registered, by default, there is OOTB design of storing into its work table. I need not do anything to make this data flowed into this table, which is purely OOTB. And sometimes extra client requirements might be about creating a new table, and data should be maintained in these tables also. This is one extra requirement what you get. Okay, so whatever the data we are registering, maintain it into this table, that is existing design, and maintain a copy in this table also for backing up. This is what the requirement is. Or they might ask you to stop storing in this table and then maintain a new table of our own. And here I should be having CID, maybe customer ID, as my unique column, and maintain the data. Okay, so by default, once you create an application, a work class will be generated, a work table will be generated with PYID as primary. So every transaction generated will be by default maintained here, but stop that linking out. Create a new table and get that stored into this table. This is what your new requirement might be. So you should know how to create a new table. For that, you need not struggle hard. It's like simple. Okay, and then you should change the design of storing it into this new table. So for this, what we have to do? First of all, you should know this class is connected to what table. So you tell me, someone please tell me how to identify a table for any particular application or class. How to identify a table? Very simple question. Come on.
We can click on test connection.
By
Test
test.
We
connection.
have to go to definition and check for test connection. Correct, right?
Yes.
So that is one way. And now I'm trying to tell you the second way also. Maybe if you right click and go to definition, so you can find out this is one thing. Second thing is right click on that. You can see something called view. You can see something called view. If you wanted to view, which is already available, you have to go for this. And there will be something called sysadmin, and this is like its navigation. Okay, so tomorrow or the next class, I'll ask you all these questions. Even I'll pick up some random person's name, and then I'll ask you how to identify a database table for a concrete class. You should tell me both the ways. And then I might ask you what is the navigation to identify a table. So you should say that sysadmin is one category, and under which you'll see something called database table. So if you click on that, you'll see something called mapping rule. We technically call this as database mapping rule. And try to open this. You can understand this class is connected to this table of this database. Am I correct? Yes, right? Yes.
Yes.
Now, if I wanted to maintain into a different table, first make sure in your Pega data, a new table maintained. So can't I update this new table name? Yes, right?
Yes.
I can update it. So maybe if this table is outside our database. So day one, if you remember, we can get data from our own database. we can get data from third-party application and even third-party database also, if you remember. I told you this, right? From third-party database also is what you can get. So for that, if you are connected to the third-party database, I think I have few databases. You can see this, right? ABC database. This is something I created extra. Okay, we'll understand all these things, how to create everything. So this is our database and this is our new table. If I say what should happen? This particular class should be connected to this table of this new database, meaning this connection is like flushed out. Am I correct? Yes, right?
Yes.
Yes. And additionally, one more thing what we have to do is, no doubt you have to still open its definition and now you have to update its primary key as like CID or whatever you are maintaining there. Okay, maybe if I click on this, I'll see new database table of so new database. This table of this database, this is what I'll see. And its primary key is CID. Every time if you just right click and check for definition, you will see its table name and its primary key. And this table connection will never be applicable for abstract classes. So here you'll see table, right? Here you'll see its primary key, right? Abstract class will not even have a table. What is the point of test connection or what is the point of key? So those two are missing for abstract classes. Got it right? Everyone clear?
Yes.
That's right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So in detail, we have to understand something about like abstract. So this is enough for today's session. So coming days or coming concepts where we are trying to create new database tables, there we'll understand something extra classes related discussion also. And we will be even understanding about like inheritance concept. Okay, the next class, maybe for first 15-20 minutes. So there will be little theoretical discussion. And post that our actual development starts. So you may or may not understand concepts so far, doesn't matter at all. You might not use all these things in real time as a developer. If you wanted to go it as like in Pega architect, these should be useful. Okay, that's fine. So at least from Monday's session, you are supposed to be ready for everything. Everything in the sense you should be ready with your laptop installation done. Okay, and you should be in a position to do the projects from that day itself. So Monday, I'll show you how to design screen number 1 or something. It's related discussion. And parallel, you have to replicate in other 3 projects or 2 projects. Got it right? So
Yes.
every one of you for today's discussion.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you will be getting some MCQ tests today, or you'll be even getting some interview question and answers updated also. Okay, so you try to parallelly practice that. So we'll meet again on Monday. Okay, so thank you everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Chandra.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shani.